I'm Ruby, and today I'm going to show you how I turn my traditional paintings into digital prints using only my phone and a computer. So you've probably seen artists who make amazing digital work and designs and then print it on art prints, t-shirts, tote bags to sell on their online shop or at market booths. But I'm an artist who works with traditional mediums like watercolor, acrylic paint, and oil paint. And because of this, I used to think I would never be one of those artists that prints their designs. But I figured out a way to do it from home with no fancy equipment, and I was able to make prints of my acrylic paints and sell it on my art shop. So I have seen other, probably more professional ways of doing this, like using an art scanner to scan your artwork, or using a fancy camera to get the best quality possible. But to be honest with you, I don't have the kind of money to invest in equipment, especially when I've never done this before. I don't know if I want to keep doing it. I needed a cheap, beginner-friendly way of doing this. So this is a very simple method that I find works great. So let's start with the supplies. Like I said earlier, you need a computer, you need your art, and you need a phone with a decent camera. I find iPhones work well. I have an iPhone 11, so it's not like a super new model, and the camera is still great on it. You will need a computer. You can't just do this on your phone because you need to handle larger files to get good quality prints. But you don't need anything fancy. A laptop should work. And you need a editing program to open the artwork on your computer. I personally use Krita because it's free, so if you don't have a drawing program, I would install Krita. If you're making prints or manufacturing your art, I'm also going to assume that you want to sell it somewhere, and I personally found that having an online shop and website has been the best solution for me. It allows me to work from home, I don't have to deal with additional fees like on Etsy, and I have full control over the look and layout of my website. I personally use Hostinger, who is the sponsor of this video. Hostinger is a web hosting platform that I use to create my website and launch my shop. Their business plan has everything you need to get started, including e-commerce features and 0% transaction fees so you can make the most from your art sales. I find Hostinger a lot more affordable than other options I've tried, and it also comes with a domain name and email profiles included in the price, so you can have a custom professional look while running your online art shop. And on top of that, you can get a discount on all yearly plans with the code RUBY. Just head over to hostinger.com/Ruby, choose the business plan to get a website and shop, and apply the code RUBY to get an additional 10% off. Plus, choosing a 48-month plan will get you 3 months for free. To create a website, just head over to your Hostinger account, click Websites, and add a website using their builder. With their 150 free templates and drag and drop features, it's super easy for anyone to create and customize their website. Thank you so much to Hostinger for making this video possible. So step 1 is to make your art, and obviously this is going to look different from artist to artist, but something that you need to remember here is that the edges of your work might be cropped in later steps. Because we're not using fancy equipment like an art scanner, you're not going to get a perfectly flat version of your art. So if you have a super symmetrical design, or if you have like a border around your artwork, this might not be the best technique for you, but if you're not too precious with your work, you're okay with cropping the edges a little bit, then it'll be fine. I find this a small price to pay to not have to pay for the equipment. You can work with any size and just crop it down to the design or the print that you want to make, but I find it's really helpful to work with a similar size while you're painting to what you eventually want the design or the print to be. So for example, this is a 5x7 acrylic painting and I made a 5x7 print. So as you can see, they're very similar. When I was painting it, I knew that the dimensions were going to be the same, that everything was going to be pretty much the same. So you don't have to do that, but I find it's really helpful, especially for like art prints. The next step is to photograph your art so we can turn it into a digital file. So when taking the picture, you want it to be as flat as possible so you don't have to crop out too much in later stages. There's a lot of ways to do this. You could use painter's tape to tape it to the wall, or you could lean it against something or have it on an easel, or you could just hold it up with your hand, which is what I do most of the time, honestly. Also remember that lighting is very important here to get the colors to be accurate. You could use a ring light, a lamp, or the best free source of light, natural light. Go near a window, go outside, get some of that natural light on your painting. And also get as close as you can so that you're not zooming in later and losing some of that quality. Step 3 is to create the digital file. Now that you have an image of your artwork, you want to transfer it to your computer. So you could send yourself an email, you could add it to your OneDrive. Sometimes you need to use different programs for larger files, so just use whatever works. To digitize your artwork, we're going to use Krita like I mentioned earlier. So to open the picture of your painting on Krita, you want to find the painting and right click it, and then you hit Open With and Krita. Once you have it open like this, you select this tool, which is the cropping tool. And now this is when you need to cut out some of your art. So we're gonna start up here and select the art. And you can see right here how the picture isn't perfectly flat, so I'm gonna have to cut off some of that. So just keep cropping out anything that isn't your painting. And when you're done, just hit enter. And now you have this. So as you can see, this is your art on a digital file, so we're almost done. But first, we need to make a few more adjustments to really get it ready for printing and manufacturing. Right now the file has a random size because we were just kind of freehand cropping it. It's not the exact size you want it to be for your design or your print later. To resize the canvas, you need to enter the size that you want here. So I'm doing a 5x7 print. I'm going to enter 5x7, but it's really important to add 1,000 to the number. We want it to be a big image to have the most quality possible. The bigger the image, the more pixels, and the more pixels, the less blurry it'll be, the less pixelated. That's why it's super important to use a computer for this step instead of a phone, because a phone may be able to crop the image, but it can't blow it up, it can't resize it like this, and it'll deal with a lot smaller of a file. So add 1,000, keep the file big, don't skip the step. So this is kind of a personal preference, but when you resize the image, your original digital file is going to be in the middle of the new size. So to make it easier on myself, I just click this arrow to send it to the top left, just so it's easier to like stretch it out. This way I only need to pull it one way instead of trying to resize every corner to the image. So once you hit OK, this is the new size of the image, and this is your digital file. So now go back to your toolbar on the left here and click this. This is the resizing tool. And now you just need to play with your painting, enlarge it, and get it to fit in these dimensions. If this warped your painting, maybe the size was a bit off when you were freehand cropping it, so it kind of stretched a little bit in one way, you can now fix that and adjust it however you want. You can choose to crop off more of your image to get it to fit better while retaining the original sizing, or you could warp it and stretch it like horizontally or vertically. You can rotate it here, really whatever you want. You can also use Krita's other features at this stage if you want to add digital art, if you want to add texture, but that's more advanced, so let's just stick to the basics here. Once you're happy with the design, we can finish off with step 4. This final step is about saving your design as the highest quality possible. So this is a mistake I actually made my first time making prints. So here's one of the first prints that I ever made when I didn't know the right settings, and here's one of my later prints. The first one looks grainier, the color is darker, less saturated, my purples look more black. It looks very different from how my painting did. But this one really retained the vibrant colors of the original, and you can even see the texture of my brush strokes. So to get the highest quality possible, you need to save it as a larger file. When you click Save Image on Krita, it's going to bring you to this pop-up with a bunch of words that I quite frankly don't understand, but the gist of it is that Krita automatically condenses your image to make it easier for saving and sharing later and to take up less space on your computer. But as a trade-off, it loses some quality, it loses some information of the image, which is exactly what we don't want. We want the highest quality possible for our prints, so we're going to have to change some of these settings. So this is what the usual default settings will look like, and to change this, you need to go to these numbers here, and you want to click 1 by 1 by 1, these ones, and hit best quality, and also force baseline instead of optimize. So unclick optimize here. This will make sure that it doesn't condense the image, it doesn't change it to try to make it easier to send, easier to save. It'll just keep the highest quality possible. And here it is. This is the digital file of your traditional art. This was a painting I did by hand with acrylic paint, and now it's here as a file, and it's the right size, it's the right quality, and I can use it to manufacture the same way a digital artist would. So now that you have the digital version of your artwork, it's up to you what you want to make. You can use popular printing services to make posters, stickers, tote bags. I personally make small prints right now. It's a fun, inexpensive way to share my art, but I am hoping to move on to bigger things one day, like bigger posters, t-shirts maybe. But for now, I'm just happy that I found an inexpensive, simple way to digitize, print, manufacture my traditional art so that I didn't have to learn digital art. So let me know if you had any questions, and I hope this helped all my traditional artists out there. If you liked my prints, I have a shop at rubystrinkets.com. I also have a Discord full of other artists where we share art, we talk about art business, and it's just a really good time. If you're interested, go check that out. I will link everything in the description, so thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.